On the news tonight, Nigeria police to sue Senate over unfit status declared on the Inspector General Police, Ibrahim Idris. In business, federal government to focus on even development of the nation's economy. And on the foreign scene, United Nations, others warn Iran, Israel over escalation of air raid tensions. Hello, many thanks for joining us on Superscreen's flagship news, broadcasting to you live from Lagos. I am Adinike Oweye Ajiboye. The police authorities have resolved to drag the Senate to court to challenge the untoward action and resolution against the Inspector General Police, IGP Ibrahim Idris. The plan by the police to approach the court came after the angry senators declared Idris as unfit to hold public office. The Commissioner of Police, Legal Force Headquarters, David Igbodo, discussed this to journalists today. You will recall that the Inspector General Police and the National Assembly have not been on the same page since the arrest of Senator Dino Malai over offences bordering on alleged murder and unlawful possession of firearms, among several others. Igbodo also said the IGP acted in accordance with the law by delegating the DIG to represent him in an official capacity. President Muhammadu Buhari says over 278 convictions of corrupt officials have been secured by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) between 2017 and 2018 first quarter. The president was represented by the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, who made the disclosure in a message to the passing out parade of 314 cadets of the EFCC Detective Superintendent Corps 7 for 2017-2018 held at the Nigeria Defense Academy, Kaduna. President Buhari said 189 convictions were secured in 2017 and 89 including that of a senior advocate of Nigeria in the first quarter of 2018. He congratulated the cadets for successfully completing their 13 months training and admonished them to be courageous in dealing with corrupt officials. Graduates of the University of Lagos, UNILAG, have been urged to contribute their quota to national development. This appeal was made at the Day 3 of the University of Lagos convocation ceremony held in Lagos.
The society can only develop if we have a united elite determined to protect the gains of the society. If you look around all the societies that have sustained their growth, it has happened because of the selfless interest of the elite. One of the dictionaries describes elite as a body of people who are interested in developing the society with the knowledge they have. That is what I want you to be.
The University of Lagos continues to maintain the tradition of producing top quality graduates who are well trained and well equipped to compete favorably with their counterparts here in the nation and at any international space and stage.
This elevation puts on you the responsibility to be great ambassador of these universities. It is my earnest prayer that whatever path in life you take, you will excel.
Some of the graduates expressed joy and equally speak on challenges encountered in achieving success.
When I gained admission in 2012, I was a boy from Royal Christian College. I was not sure of what to expect from the University of Lagos, but I was prepared to learn and explore and leave my print. So as regards university, I thank God I made it today. University of Lagos is a community of people from different backgrounds. Safe to say that you will find anything you seek here. Hence, the choice is yours to make. Thank you, moms and dads, for raising soldiers, for instilling in us the right standards and morals that helped us conquer University of Lagos. I thank my parents, lecturers, my classmates, Reynolds, and indeed everyone that helped me get here. To the undergraduates, be inspired, set your priorities right. Whatever comes your way, be flexible, but don't break.
There were challenges, but there was something in me that just told me to keep going. Like, what is at the end is actually what every struggle or anything I'm going through at the moment. So for every time I was about to give up, I just remember that what is at the end is actually more than what is it I'm experiencing at the moment.
Graduates of the University of Lagos speaking there. And now moving on, the former President Olusegun Obasanjo says the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) is taking Nigerians for fools. Obasanjo, who disclosed this to journalists at his presidential library home in Abeokuta, also said the movement has adopted the African Democratic Congress as a political platform to actualize its dream for a new Nigeria. The former president said most Nigerians were poorer than when the APC came in, adding that the country had been further impoverished with foreign loan jumping from $3.6 billion to over $18 billion. Nigeria, he said, is more impoverished with a foreign loan jumping from 3.6 billion naira to over $18 billion to be paid by the present and future generations of Nigerians. Obasanjo, who might have quit the CNM, said since the movement adopted the African Democratic Congress, he had completed the first phase of his assignment. Chairman of Ado local government area of Ekiti State, a former DG Ogunshakin, has been announced as the running mate to the People's Democratic Party governorship candidate Kolapo Olushola. Olushola, who is currently the deputy to Governor Ayodele Fayose, and has been anointed by his principal as his successor, despite the outcry of many members of the opposition party. NISA says 380 local government areas in 35 states will experience flooding this year. According to NIHSA, flooding will be high in about 78 local government areas, although the situation will generally not be as severe as what the country experienced in 2012. Commenting on the agency's findings as captured in the 2018 annual flood outlook, which was unveiled by the Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, in Abuja, the Acting Director General, NISA, Olayinka Ogunwale, said the government has been issuing warnings to residents in flood-prone areas to relocate from such locations. In our research story, the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN General Secretary Musa Ashake is dead. Report says Ashake died today after an illness. The death came about 2 weeks after he led a nationwide protest called by CAN against the killing of Christians by suspected Fulani herdsmen. Ashake's brother, former member of the House of Representatives, Jonathan Ashake, confirmed the death to journalists. You're still watching Superscreen's flagship news coming up in business. Federal government to focus on even development of the nation's economy. Join us for details of this and more after this timeout.
Before they come, they're supposed to, give us some information, notice. at least maybe a week or so. There was nothing like that.
Hunger is everywhere in Nigeria. People are dying every day, but Nigerian government are keeping quiet. Housemen are killing people. Why?
It's not what we expected because of these old men that are leading us, and you people know, you are aware that these people are not the right people to lead us. These kind of people that are leading us here are people of black mind. They just care about themselves and their family.
You are fighting my village. Let me use if I call it useless, I'm not a mistake. The other place where they build a shop, call it plaza. Each shop got 4 million naira. So I don't have the money, so I have to leave. If you plan to get a tribal mark, it takes a lot of pain, but after some time, you enjoy it. No, we experience hold up now during the construction time. Then after some time, we start enjoying it.
The way they are doing the construction is too slow. It's too slow. The construction is too slow. They should stop the construction and make sure people go into their businesses and do their businesses.
Well, so glad to have you back. Now in business world, the federal government is focusing on growth in all facets of the economy for even development of the country. Minister of Finance Kemi Adeosun made the disclosure while hosting officials of the World Bank who were on a courtesy visit to her office in Abuja. She said government has made economic policies aimed at accelerating employment opportunities and to improve infrastructure across the country. Adeosun also said that government is focusing on power sector, particularly to ease human capital development in the areas of education and health.
As a percentage of GDP, our government budget size is low for the size of our economy, and that accounts for some of the challenges you see in expenditure on human capital, actual volume of expenditure on things like education and health. They're a function of the fact that our budget size is far too low, which in turn is a function of the fact that we're not mobilising adequate revenues, particularly domestic revenues in the area of tax. We're working incredibly hard to improve that. We got some very encouraging figures yesterday from the Joint Tax Board that said the number of taxpayers, or the number of which we measure by the number of TINs, tax identification numbers issued, has now crossed 19 million. When we got in, it was 13. Now there's a long way to go, but we think in 2 years to have an appreciation of close to 50% on the base that we inherited is really commendable. It's the right way to go. That having been said, there are 65 million economically active people, so there's still a long, long way to go, but we certainly are showing intent. We've put the tax and revenue discussion on the front page of narrative. It's not a popular discussion in a country where people are challenged and where people feel that the services that they expect from paying tax are not necessarily there.
The World Bank team was led to the Minister's office by Dr. Patricio Pagano, a World Bank official representing the Republics of Malta, Italy, Portugal, and Albania. The visit is expected to provide a first-hand impression of challenges faced by the federal and state government in implementing development projects, as well as ensuring good governance overall.
Very welcome growth that you are achieving, and to understand how it can be made more inclusive. Because the World Bank works to eradicate poverty and to make growth as inclusive as possible by boosting the income of the bottom 40% of the population. And moreover, of course, this part of this say recovery has to do with the power sector. So we would like to also to understand, say, your views on how the recovery of the power sector is proceeding, and if you have a plan that is being implemented there. And so that's very crucial also for the private sector to thrive. Yesterday we met in Lagos several entrepreneurs, and we saw how vibrant the private sector is in this country. But You cannot have a vibrant private sector without power and without the right business environment, which is something that I believe your policy will.
The World Bank delegation is expected to hold high-level discussions with the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, the Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, and some governors over the bank's projects in Nigeria. A Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, and the National President of the National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas, NUPEN, Williams Akporika, have disagreed over the state of Nigeria roads and their impact on the nation's economy. President of the National Association of Road Transport Owners, NATO, Albania Bataya, asked the government to introduce user charges on all federal roads as a primary means of generating money to maintain and rehabilitate the roads in addition to annual budgetary allocation. While the union wants the federal government to declare a state of emergency on Nigerian roads and other to attract urgent attention, the minister said there is no need to declare any emergency since the government is already doing enough to ensure that the roads are put in proper and motorable state. Unrelated development, Minister of State for Power, Works and Housing, Mustafa Shehouri, has called on the Adamawa state government to spearhead efforts to generate and use solar power in the country. Shehouri made the call in Yola when he paid a courtesy visit to the state deputy governor Martin Wabali. He said the federal government has developed 3 programs in the power sector to ensure improved generation and supply of power. The minister urged Adamawa State to take the lead in solar power generation and transmission in the country. Shehouri also said the federal government is making efforts to improve and expand electricity generation and transmission capacities across the country. The federal government says it has invested 260 billion naira in roads across the country in the past 3 years. According to the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, the funds were expended on the road sector between 2015 and 2018. Fashola disclosed this in his keynote address at the 4th Quadrennial Delegates Conference of the Petroleum Tanker Drivers Branch of the National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers in Abuja. The minister said that under the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan of the federal government, about 300 billion naira had been committed to Nigerian roads, adding that it is one thing to have a plan and another to commit to the faithful implementation of the plan. Still ahead on the news, United Nations others warn Iran and Israel over escalation of air raids tensions. Join us with details of these and more after this timeout.